As you said, it's a Brazilian map. It is, for many seasons, been among the most played in the Latin America region. Rogue, as a North American team, is among the most aggressive. We saw that in their match against Team Secret yesterday, much to your chagrin, in their victory over the three Brits and the two French men on the team. Rogue plays very, very aggressive, and it can match up quite well against the more methodical style of play of the European teams. Interestingly, they're now matching up against an equally aggressive team in a region that is known to often take the fight, and that's FaZe. And they're a team that know how to push and how to push quickly. They had a bit of operator swaps yesterday. We saw Gohan was playing Twitch, and I believe went something like plus 21 on the day. Just a staggeringly good performance for him. Something to keep an eye out for is how does FaZe use their roles, because obviously they've been tinkering with them because they haven't found that success that they want. The first ban, though, is going to be Hibana and Glaz going as well. A Hibana ban on Bank means that those hatches are likely going to stay safe. You're going to have to run a Thermite every single round.
Yeah, so this certainly does let us know that Rogue, they're looking for these server pushes. They wouldn't, or just say they're looking to defend these server pushes, because that's going to be then really the only viable way you can attack that downstairs, is going through the dirt tunnel, taking control of server, and then finally Thermiting your way in free, because he's going to be the only hard breacher that is going to be playable. Echo as well is going to be banned out, so Mira and Echo, the two defending operators, will not be played during this matchup. Certainly Mira is a big impact for a map like Bank, where we talk about Bank is very universal in that all four bomb sites can be played. It's very adaptable for many, many sides. But taking out that Mira is going to be a big, big hit for particular bomb sites, such as the downstairs, or even possibly the upstairs as well, where Mira is so crucial for holding some of them long corridors and big choke points that teams like Rogue may want to go for.
On lockers and CCTV, it enables a different style of play, where usually there will be more of an investment into the roam, because you can't turtle up the same way. Now, it's funny because the four sites on Bank are all defendable. We have seen teams run the gamut of going from one site to another and continuously work around the site rotation. Now that there is the mandatory 3-site rotation should you prevail on 1 to 2 sites, Bank, I'm surprised, actually hasn't seen more play, because you'd figure with how even some of these sites are to defend, there would be more of a focus there. I think that's why Coastline has seen such a disproportionate amount of play over previous seasons, is that Coastline has, 3 sites that are quote-unquote defendable. Of course, it is an attacker-sided matchup, so defendable is a loose term applied here. But for Bank, usually what you'd see on a CCTV defense is some teams might reinforce those 2 walls down by the CCTV doorway, or possibly shoot them open to make it so that an exothermic charge can't go on with great ease, maybe give the defenders extra long lines of sight. But usually, the most important part of that defense is a Mira window that you can sit behind and use that vision as a powerful position to play out of. That's not going to be available this time around, and right where the Mira window usually would be is where the wall has been blown wide open. You can see here, Rogue not really committing any bodies to holding the area between the bombs or by vault.
This is a very aggressive setup coming out from Rogue. You can see where they have a lot of presence in towards that middle floor, in and around that open area archives, even branching out in towards the lobby at some stages if they want to go for. Castle Barricade on that break room door is going to stop anybody wanting to peek in towards that open area, which we see the majority of the Rogue players are going to be stationed into. So the only real viable way that FaZe could go for this is if they want to go for the archives take, but that's very risky, because you could walk in. There's a lot of different angles you have to be wary of whenever you do push in there with big impact tools as well. It's going to be a big cause for caution as well for FaZe. But whenever you have a player like Astra who can take these gunfights and take these refrags, but Slash very smartly using this cardiac scanner to the best of his ability, is going to see, yeah, I'm not going to deal with that. I get jackaled, and he is going to scurry away back down to the bomb site. But already FaZe have gotten themselves inside of the server, because Rogue, they did not put any presence inside of that area. And this is where FaZe are looking pretty strong here. They've already scattered away the pulse, and they can start moving their way in, beating out these smoke grenades, and possibly even get rid of some of these Maestro cameras, and then eventually push in for the plant.
It was good that Slash fell off the way he did. He got droned out by Astro. I don't think he saw the drone the first time around, but then spotted the Dokkaebi by himself on his cardiac sensor, and that was what information he needed to be able to push back. Not having a Mira also means that there will be one Nitro cell that will not be available on defense right away. You see a frag grenade from Cameraman gets tossed in as the Montaigne and Gohan tries to push. He's going to have to chuck out his smoke grenades, and there's probably going to be 6 smoke grenades available on the Dokkaebi, the Jackal, as well as the Monty. The biggest thing will be the Evil Eyes. Moringa's getting the plant down, but there they go. They'll bait out the first smoke. 40 seconds left. This could possibly be very tight on time. As well, you've got the Pulse now playing inside of the vault or jail area, and could possibly toss out a C4 himself. There goes another smoke. Moringa will inhale some of that toxic gas before he falls off, along with the Montaigne. And we're riding along with a great overhead view. Easily will have to push up at some point, and here he goes, trying to drop the shield in coordination with the concussive blast. They'll drop that diffuser, but with only 10 seconds left, this is bad for FaZe. They'll have to bait out as much utility as they can. They will juggle yet again, but Easily gets very aggressive. He'll take out 2 as Astro and Moringa are down. Slash jumps in, and Rogue with just so much action all in front of us. This was FaZe not utilizing the clock to the best of their ability, and Rogue collapsing as the clock was about to strike 0.
Yeah, the final execution from FaZe just was not there. It was not consistent enough compared to their room clear out, the way they held their flank coverage. And I would say that's down because we did see that Thermite opened both of them walls. So they had the 2 options where they wanted to plant, may have been right up against the wall, or like we did see them attempt to go right beside the server. And I'm quite surprised why whenever the smoke canister got thrown out to where they were planting beside the server, the first part, they had another wall where they could have quickly rotated, dodged the smoke grenade, and planted in the ideal spot, which most teams go for, beside the hard wall. So it's a bit of a mix-up why they wouldn't just try and play a bit of mind games. You could possibly have beat out 2 of them within the same time limit, and you could have had a lot more time to work with at that stage. So certainly the fact that they didn't try and plant beside the hard wall was the real downfall for FaZe Clan.
Especially when they had an opportunity to push it even deeper and then maybe bait out another smoke. It was FaZe not exactly seeming too confident in that strategy. The Monty that looked like was going to be brought out from FaZe a second time around will be swapped off to the Twitch. We saw yesterday, as I mentioned, Astro usually plays that Twitch role. You had Gohan on it instead. The F2 did see a slight nerf just a couple weeks ago in a balancing change introduced from the developers, but it's still one of the best guns in the game. A high rate of fire with solid damage, you can run an ACOG on it, and a good drone makes Twitch a pretty versatile operator, even though her pick rate has diminished in relation to Mira being removed, because your biggest target as a Twitch drone is obviously to take care of those Miras, but still, when you got a good gun in Gohan's hands, he's going to be able to kill most things. It was a bit of a shame to see him running the Montaigne because
he's a fragger.
He's a fragger, absolutely.
So yeah, just touching upon the Twitch as well, we know that Twitch has been one of the strongest operators in terms of gun. It is possibly, arguably, one of the best guns in the game. I would say the only one that could really challenge it would be the R4C and Ash, but even dating back to the times whenever Jackal had a C7E, that was probably the best gun in the game I think we've ever had. But nonetheless, if you have somebody like Gohan behind a great gun, he can do wonders for you. And even players like Mav using the C7E, which is still a really solid weapon, a lot of fragging potential possibly here for FaZe, and FaZe are looking to try and go for these repels and try and take the window play on the north side off the plaza, which is an option that we do not see a whole too lot. Yeah, sometimes we might see the Blackbeard there, but never really a lot of pressure putting on. So Rogue, I don't believe they're going to be ready for this type of window play. They're more set up towards holding downstairs as well, as there's going to be one roamer in the form of Geo downstairs as well.
You've also got 2 ACOGs on the board, which is for Bank pretty standard. We've seen Docks and Rooks be played over by a position that's called Banana because it kind of looks similar shape to a banana with all those windows on it. You can also have full control of that long hallway all the way down to the vending machines and to the stock trading room there. Oftentimes a lot of teams will call that Banana because it looks like a banana.
You like your bananas?
I'm not Canadian. Bananas are fine. They're a good source of potassium and great for breakfast to start your day off.
Lots of players like bananas.
Astro is going to get a one phone call off in time. Speaking of bananas, look at that Gohan running a banana charm, which I've actually seen a lot of players running this time around. I don't think it's in the game yet, so that's just a nice...
I believe Bread was running it in the Vitality game.
I know Magnet was running it as well. Fabian was running it for a little bit too. First kill is going to go to Astro. As you'd see, he'd used this first Logic Bomb and 0 Logic Bombs remaining, so the second one went off too, likely to mark 2 members of Rogue. Slash and easily down, so those 2 ACOGs that I'd mentioned before are not going to be much of a factor in the final minute of play.
No, certainly losing them very long, narrow angles that you can hold with the ACOG, especially on a map like Bank. That can be very detrimental. Rogue, they still have a good bit of utility with the smokes, but they're going to have to go for some pretty big frags because ever so patient Astro is waiting for his chance to strike as Eclipse does get the kill onto Moringa. First gas canister is also going to be expended. So 30 seconds to go. FaZe, they have lost a guy, but they have got the refrag, and that's actually going to be Astro inside of the bomb site as well.
And they had designed themselves to fight for a retake. Brian and Eclipse are last 2 left. Eclipse and Geo at one point were both downstairs, trying to bait FaZe into getting a plant off. Eclipse and Brian, though, are doubled up and in a position where a couple good shots from FaZe could take care of both of them. And Astro holding a tight angle. SMG-12 versus SMG-12. Well, the attacker's going to prevail. Brian with his own SMG sidearm will meet an even powerful SMG sidearm, and it is the battle of the SMGs as FaZe equalizes, and they'll take CEO their first successful round thus far.
Excellent plays from the members of FaZe. That just shows the power of their gun skill. Brian still looking very strong on his smoke. He has certainly been a very big standout player for Rogue in recent times. He's even decided to change his name from Brian to Big Bri, just so he shows how big he really is whenever he does come into them sort of plays. But we will be moving into another top floor defense for Rogue, as they did lose that. Maybe they want to change some things up, and we're actually going to see the mute being picked up. So that's going to be a pretty big pickup, unless it does get sick picked. For a map like Bank, whenever heavy droning is essential for teams, whenever they're doing their room clear out, having some mute jammers will come in pretty big. We will see the sick pick from the Montagne to the Twitch once again, as Gohan is going to be on that F2. We're actually going to see the mute stick as well, so we could see some castle mute tricks, which is a very old strategy. Mav is going to be the only guy who can really counter that. Sledge is the biggest counter to castle barricades in most cases, especially comboed with the mute jammer. So I'm liking the mute pickup for the top floor defense.
This Monty pick and the fact that they've 6 picked off of it twice leads me to believe that it's just mind games that are being played. They're trying to get Rogue into a position where they think there's going to be a shield and maybe try to tweak their strategy accordingly. Because with a Monty, usually what you're going to try to do is funnel him into a tighter space, and then that Monty will either try to bait out your utility gadgets, secondary gadgets, etc., and you have to be in a position to try and take care of him. You can use Legion traps to do that. You can do a C4. You can even do impacts if you are particularly in a pinch, though as of late impacts have been used for much more important purposes, such as depriving teams of those exothermic charges when a thermite comes out, who, by the way, has been required because Hibana is banned. So with Rogue going the way they're going to go, I would have expected these mute jammers to maybe be played a little bit farther off-site to try and deny any intel from FaZe, to be able to gain knowledge of where the roam from Rogue is going to go, especially with the last round, with Rogue fighting for a retake. The big issue was that they were a little bit too disconnected from the push. You know, you find yourselves in a 3v5 at that position. You know, Brian is the only person trying to hold down the site. Geo as a castle is not really the operator you want in the hands of a retake position, even though he himself, a great player, just a bit of a bit too far off. But he's going to find himself on those stairs as well, so he's right back in the exact same spot that he was before.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Rogue are planning with Geo, especially whenever he's not an operator like a Pulse, who can be very detrimental from below. But because he is the other American operator, he doesn't provide a whole lot for the roam. It's not as if he's a very quick Jaeger or a Bandit with the free speed. He's just going to be a 2-speed, so not the best roamer in many terms. Typically, we see the castles being played a lot more on site. But if he can make it work, then sure. Let's see if he can perform big for his team. Already FaZe are doing the droning phase, and like you did point out, no mute jammers on the downstairs, so this is a very easy drone out phase for FaZe. Always confuses me, FaZe and FaZe, you know, 2 different phases.
I feel you on that one. Astro just seems to avoid what is an impact grenade or possibly even a C4 that gets tossed up into the elevator where he was playing. It looks like it might have been a nitro cell from Eclipse, and somehow Astro walks away without taking any damage from that. If that's the case, it's a bit wonky. The explosion should have probably found the Dokkaebi playing in the elevator, but I digress. Moringa will try to get this wall thermited open. There's no bandit. Won't be really too concerned with the bandit trick, and there's no mute jammer on the other side of it, so that's a free wall for them. Moringa will get a second open as well. At any point, the final logic bomb can go off from Astro and try to pin people down, and there you have it. So FaZe is in a position right now where they can begin to clamp in on CEO. Moringa playing in between the two exploded panels. Geo trying to work his way back to the site. But he is very far removed and very disconnected from what's going on right now. If we don't have FaZe in a position to possibly capitalize on a late flank, that could be very easy for Rogue to go for a retake. And Slash with that long angle will take out Moringa as he tries to peek in. Next one up is Cameraman, and that's Slash with 2 big kills.
Yeah, Slash already getting the early lead for Rogue inside of the last 30 seconds. This does set up the final 15 seconds where FaZe really do have to play quick on their feet. They have to get these kills. It's going to be Astro falling, and also is going to be Mav, as that will be Gohan just runs in, and Slash gets himself a 4K big round from Slash, one of the most consistent NA players we have seen throughout the entirety of Siege.
Is to be expected, and that is a good position for your ACOG to be playing. It's almost a very similar position to where we see a lot of North American players put the ACOG on Bank when it does happen to pop up. Of course, Bank has the lowest pick rate, if I recall correctly, in Pro League this season among all regions, which is not necessarily a surprise, but given the map pool, I would have figured that it would have been a little bit lower, which also would put it below Villa, if I recall, but don't exactly quote me on it. We'll head into round number 4 with 2 defensive round victories, and CCTV will be reopened, and that's exactly where Rogue is going to go. If they prevail here, then they will have to head somewhere else for the 5th round. Not to CEO, though, so they'd have to head to possibly Open Area or Archives Tellers. Archives Tellers is not a terrible place to play. In fact, a lot of your defense will revolve around the same style of defense for CEO with you guarding upstairs.
So essentially, Rogue, they're going to go for a more of a heavy roam game, because the fact that they did 6th pick onto the Vigil just screams, yeah, let's roam on Bank. It's one of the most typical things that teams do like to do. And FaZe have also, they've switched from bringing the Jackal that Mav was playing onto a Sledge. That's a pretty big switch on Bank. I'm quite curious to why they didn't stick the Jackal, because Jackal's very, very strong on Bank. We know this. It's a great roam clear out. Also having that secondary shotgun as a useful vertical tool where you can play if you're from below or above, particularly on the mid floor bomb sites, that can be very strong. But nonetheless, having the Sledge does give that same kind of sledge and potential, but it's going to have to be a pretty big roam game from Geo if he does want to try and contest some of these FaZe members. And also FaZe, they're not having the Montagne either this time.
So they'll go for a more open possible and frag-heavy style of composition here with 2 jammers for Slash trying to possibly deprive anybody from getting up onto the white stairs. Shotgun of Mute is actually not that unorthodox. We saw Skies from Obey yesterday running the Shotgun Mute. Puts you in a position where it's one of the best shotguns in the game.
Yes.
Obviously being pump action, the amount of montages I'm sure that smoke mains are able to create for all of their various content creator needs, getting those great pump kills, quite numerous. And of course Mute can play very similarly, playing in that the close quarter combat that you see Slash aiming to contest at the top of white stairs. Meanwhile, Astro, who typically is the opening and entry fragger for FaZe, has been doing quite a lot of heavy lifting with this drone work, giving intel to his team and trying to communicate as best he can. And the way that they were using Astro yesterday was not in your typical go in, find them, and kill them role, which is, like I said, part of those small little tweaks that FaZe has made to their roster, maybe to try and get more potential out of what is a very talented lineup.
So we're going to see FaZe make their way in towards the staff room and the open area, but the first big challenge that FaZe are going to have to deal with is going to be this Mute with the shotgun. I'm really liking this position with the shotgun. It's very up close and personal, where you can just peek around, bam, gets the kill. That that can easily happen here, which I'm kind of predict that that's probably what we will see. Nade is going to get stopped by the ADS as well, so a lot of utility that Rogue are really putting in towards these stairs. Hatch is going to get opened up as well, but that's not really a big concern for the Mutants. He can still play on them stairs without being exposed to that drop Hatch as well. So I'm liking the setup from Rogue. They've wasted 2 minutes already. FaZe have made no attempt to even try and attack Slash because there is going to be a C4 on the top. Free him off that doorway as well.
So Mute having tons of usage here to stop anybody trying to get in. Mav will take point and he'll get shot at, but that's Geo getting very aggressive under the hatch. Now Mav is going to push up, but look at that. Slash a shot to the chest. That's game over for Mav. Cameraman's going to be next up. Astro takes out Eclipse, but the shotgun will fail there, and Cameraman getting the kill as they'll be able to push down now unabated. Rogue finding themselves in a 4v2. They'll silence their phones, but I like what FaZe has to offer. They've still got the Dokkaebi, they've still got the 2 smokes, Gohan with the fragging potential, and Cameraman might even have a nade or 2 left. I saw that he'd used one earlier on and has got eaten by the ADS. But good timing for Brian to be able to toss out those toxic babes. FaZe is just going to have to rush right in. They all drop the hatch. All 4 of FaZe are in, and this could get messy. Plant going down, but Brian and Easily jump in. They'll put us back to 2v2. Can Moringa be able to get the plant down? Ping's coming out. Moringa with a team kill, and there's only one left, and that's Moringa finished off by Easily, who will clutch the round. And what was an act of desperation from FaZe as they fired in, ill-advised to just go guns a-blazing, take out one of your team, and then Rogue able to jump on the final member as Easily will clean it up, and that's Rogue taking a 3-1 lead.
It seems to be the same story for FaZe in their downstairs attacks, where they just cannot close out the final stages. Their room clear is very impressive. We've seen them take a lot more time compared to last time, but certainly Rogue, they played very well in their own game. They wasted a lot of utility and time. Brian played extremely well with the shotgun as well. Actually, I don't think it was Brian.
Slash.
Yeah, it was Slash, so that was very big on him. So yeah, it was a good round from Rogue. You can't really take it away from them. They're very excellent at retakes, which is exactly what they had to do. But FaZe, the fact that you go for the 4-man drop, it does work. Doesn't work this time. Doesn't work. More likely because of the TK, which can happen whenever all of you are just clustered together through smoke as well. And some players don't even play with the outlines as well, which is quite a big thing that has been a huge talking point. A lot of coaches don't like that to happen because we have seen a lot more frequent TKs with Inside Siege during this past season as well.
A lot of that round goes solely to the time management of Rogue to keep FaZe from being able to push freely. The amount of time that Slash wasted on those stairs, as you mentioned, almost 2 minutes, that Mute took away from FaZe just by himself because of the trepidation from FaZe to get aggressive and try to fight the Mute. And even then, Slash was still able to take one down before he was felled by Cameraman. But when you've only got 10 to 15 seconds left, I called it an act of desperation. FaZe had to drop through the open hatch, and I mean, yeah, they were at a 4v2, and that could have been a potential C4 away from certain death for them. Also could have been a totally different circumstance if the team kill hadn't come out, because it would have been a 2v1 in FaZe's advantage. We can play hypotheticals all day. Slash doing an excellent job of wasting time and using everything that he really had at his disposal. 2 Mute jammers, 1 thing of barbed wire, a C4, as well as an ADS. That's quite an investment in one particular area, but if all of if all of that can keep you sheltered on site for 2 full minutes, then, you know, I think you can put that in the win column for Rogue. And in terms of actual score, they did. So we're in the final round here. Before the first half, we'll switch over. FaZe could find themselves trailing 4-1. That's not a circumstance that they want to be in on a map that FaZe is quite proficient on. The very first loss that Evil Genius has suffered, if I remember correctly, in international play on Bank was to FaZe, in which they were absolutely annihilated at the 6th Invitational. So this is a map that we know FaZe is very, very strong on, and as good as Rogue may be, you want to keep it close for the Brazilians.
Yeah, certainly FaZe have a lot of experience with this particular map, but let's not count out Rogue in their Bank play. They've performed very well the last time. A notable time whenever they played Bank, and it played it extremely well, was DreamHack Valencia against Team Secret, where they 6-1'd them as well. So even Rogue do have some formidable past matches on Bank. So looking at the way Rogue are setting up, they're going for a very heavy anchor. There's a lot of Rogue guys inside of the bomb sites, which typically we haven't seen so far inside Bank. We've seen more of a strong roam game where they try and waste as much utility as they can. But this time they've decided to extend themselves in towards the archives area. So this could be a big advantage if FaZe aren't ready for these rumors, or it could be a big disadvantage because you're giving a player like Gohan a complete line of sight into the bomb site where he can just start tapping heads and do what Gohan does. So certainly this has to be a big round from Eclipse as the Valkyrie inside of archives. If he gets the kill on to Gohan, this could potentially be Rogue's round, and they could lead into the switch 4 rounds to 1.
The first kill is going to go to Moringa as the Thermite from above, looking through all those open holes inside of Janitorial Closet. We'll find the Bandit, an operator that we've actually just seen emerge for the first time, and obviously Bandit tricking the wall, or rather just laying down those electric charges to keep the hard destruction at bay. Once again, time management being a big thing. Eclipse peaks Moringa, and you really should not have necessarily done that. That's a free kill for Moringa through the hatch, and FaZe in a 5v3 at the moment. Final logic bomb will go off. Geo playing around that deployable shield, and Mav will find Big Bri. It's a 5v2, and the claws of FaZe will tighten, trying to keep their grip on Rogue. You can see some marks going down as Mav takes out Geo, but Slash is the only person on Rogue to be able to get a kill, and he will need to ace clutch. Obviously, something that with the UMP is very, very difficult. Of course, the Valkyrie cameras as well as the Evil Eye in sight will be able to mark away at everybody. That's going to help him an awful lot, but I mean, you know how little damage that UMP does, and Slash's position is given away. His only opportunity is to drop through the hatchet, which all 4 members of FaZe will be staring at. Gohan sees just a sliver of Slash and will be able to complete the round. FaZe loses the first half 3-2 in favor of Rogue, but still at the same time they kept it close enough and avoided getting blown out in that 4-1 scoreline.
So once again, we see the aggression from FaZe come out in the early game. They take what they want. They know exactly where they want to be in position. This time, Rogue, they didn't have that same roam presence that we've seen time and time again, where they've been able to catch members of FaZe by surprise. We did see a little bit of extension into the archives area from the bomb site. I potentially would have liked to see a bit of a roam game upstairs in towards the CEO office. It just makes FaZe waste more time. It makes them use more utility. And whenever you can pick up the Vigil who's not banned, that could be pretty big as well. So this is going to be the switch. So we're going to see Rogues attacking rounds, and then FaZe, they're going to be in the defense. And starting things off, we will be having a lockers and CCTV room. And Slash is also going to bring the Jackal, which I am a big fan of on this map.
This is the map that I think we see the most Jackal play on, statistically, just because of its size. It's still trying to figure out if Bank is the official largest map in all of Pro League. I believe it is, but I'm sure if there's somebody saying that it's not, I will be corrected pretty quickly. Rogue is a very strong strategy involving open area that involves a Mira, but of course with Mira being banned, that makes it very difficult for them to replicate that, and adding Maestro into the mix is, he can be not a substitute for Mira, but the best option you have. And we've seen a lot of teams just simply reinforce a wall and slap an Evil Eye on it the same way that you would a Mira window, but that necessitates communicating or being on a camera to get that intel, whereas a Mira window, it's just immediate. You are standing behind that window, you can see right through it. You don't need to do the same amount of coordination or possible juggling of getting on and off your camera to figure out exactly what's on the other side of that Evil Eye. But for FaZe, that was a very strong round from them. Now, Rogue did get a bit too aggressive and peeked them, which were able to put FaZe in a much stronger position. But the way that they coalesced around the site and then boxed Rogue out is great. Mav having a great degree of difficulty, speaking of, trying to get a camera in there, but I think he's just going to say, heck it. Not sure if he thinks that maybe his Valkyrie cameras are broken. Who knows? But Mav still trying to just set up and gather more information for his team.
Yeah, so that certainly does lead us to believe that they're going to try and go for retakes potentially with the Valkyrie cameras. That's the big significant advantage of putting them inside open area. Is it's the most commonly retake strategy for teams is whenever the plant does go down inside of the server room, then you simply rotate and use the hatches against the attackers in that circumstance. Rogue are going to be entering in through the main lobby. Typically, we would see more of the skylight area being attacked by members of the attacking team, but no, they're going to try and go for the lobby, probably knowing that, yeah, there's nobody in here. We have drones set up in the prep phase, so certainly this is going to be another option that they can go for. All they really need to do is get it droned, know if there's any roamers, get rid of the roamers, and then just watch the angles and hold the flanks. That's one of the biggest things in Bank you have to do, is watch that main stairs, because that is exactly where every defender is going to want to get their hands on and climb right on up and then kill you from the flank.
It doesn't appear that any member of FaZe is on either the first floor or are on either the first floor or the second floor. They all appear to be in the basement at the moment. You've got the Jaeger who was playing on those server stairs who will fall off now as he's going to get droned out. Also some Jackal tracks to try and maybe catch the Jaeger as he's moving, but not entirely certain. One of the exothermic charges, as you can see, was used to open up the hatch inside of that CEO office, or the teller's office, my apologies, and then another one will be used to get that skylight stairwell hatch too. So that will exhaust, or my apologies, it actually looks like they didn't reinforce. It doesn't look like they reinforced that hatch. Mav will toss up a C4 as there's still one exothermic charge left for the thermite, which means that there's still an option here available for where they want to use that, and that will give easily a lot of power to possibly even open up one of those walls on the site and start the plant process. Obviously a lot more difficult for the defenders without a Mira or an Echo, but still definitely doable. First kill is going to go to Astro, and that will be Eclipse removed from the equation.
Yeah, good stuff from Astro in at the back of the server. Waste more time for Rogue, but will get refragged by Geometrics, as he is going to just go for the last minute drone, figure out exactly where these last remaining defenders are going to be located, as it will be easily getting rid of that reinforced wall. They can start going in for the plant. Still 2 gas canisters on the side of FaZe. Also the Maestro cameras are going to be up as well. So this is looking pretty strong for FaZe. E1D will be expanded. So all members of FaZe are going to have to stop. And it will be the Maestro camera getting shut down. Another smoke canister does go out as Gohan gets one. Map also got one. But then we will see the refrag from Slash. But that's going to be no more time for Rogue. And it will be FaZe taking that defending round for the first time on Bank.
A good start to their defense. Of course, with CCTV, you're expected to win that on your defensive setup. Now, obviously, those odds might go down without the Mirror and the Echo, as I pointed out. But speaking of time management earlier on in the game, not exactly the best for Rogue. We could see from our perspective that all 5 of the bodies for FaZe were condensed downstairs in and around the site. The most, I suppose, roaming player, the player that was roaming the most, was the Jaeger that was positioned on the stairs looking into server, which is still pretty close to site, especially as a 3-speed, you can get back real fast. Rogue weren't able either to put all that together, or they just weren't able to execute as cleanly as they wanted to because they were a victim of the clock, and they might not have dropped the hatch like FaZe did, but that was very reminiscent of exactly what happened with FaZe when they all dropped and, well, time just simply ran out. For FaZe, though, you now have to go to a site that is not quite as easy to defend as where you just were. So that is a fighting chance for Rogue, but for FaZe, they managed to tighten it up. And that was a pretty convincing defensive round for FaZe, if I do say so. So they'll head to, it appears, Teller's Archives. On the main floor, won't be opting for CEO, which is a site that is more common in North America and to a lesser extent Europe. But Latin America does typically seem to favor this Teller's Archives as their preferred second site. And we'll see if FaZe can string 2 together on defense.
I certainly do agree with the Tellers and Archives over the top floor, mostly because there's no Mira, which is the big operator that you need to make that top floor work, which is why I believe Rogue did struggle with that top floor, as they didn't have the same intel gathering and the chokeholds and potential refrags that you can get with a Mira. But certainly going for the mid floor has its advantages, but also has its disadvantages, as you do open yourself up to a lot of destructibility from above. And whenever Rogue do bring a sledge to the table in the form of Eclipse, and even Slash with his secondary shotgun can do a lot of hard work. That's why I do like the pickup off the Jackal, is because he just provides so much utility. He can hunt roamers, he can fry because he's a great gun, also has the smoke canisters, which it seemed to be, they're not giving the smoke canisters out as much as they did, but certainly having that utility aspect for your Jackal is a big deciding factor for a map like Bank.
Unfortunately, the biggest counter that you find to those smokes on attack is will be the Evil Eyes, those bulletproof cameras that Maestro gets 2 of if he remains unbanned, depending on whether your team has opted to take out Mirror or possibly an Echo. That Evil Eye can ping, or well, not actually ping, but can at least tell you through the smoke where the attackers are. And that's an advantage that the smoke gives you that is taken away. Now, speaking of those Evil Eyes, the one Evil Eye that had been situated in the lobby is gone. Eclipse will use one of his 2 frag grenades to make sure that the Evil Eye can do no damage and can give no calls. It was positioned looking towards Tellers. Cameraman will start things off. And speaking of that Jackal with the 2 smokes, no more. Those will go unused as the Jackal gets eliminated within the first minute. And that was some vertical play, a nice vertical play. As a counter push here will come from Rogue as they use the EE1D just to keep FaZe all neat and completely still.
So Rogue are going to attempt to go for an A take, it seems to be, as they've already geared up ready. They have the flank coverage, as typically we do not see anybody go ahead and shoot open in towards that lone office area. You would only do that if you're going to watch the flanks for this particular take. Cameraman playing inside of the corner can get caught out very easy, but that's actually going to be easily getting caught out as he will stand up to the counter, expose himself, and Cameraman will shut him down. So Thermite gone for Rogue. What a big kill, as that is going to be all of the hard destruction that Rogue could have gotten is going to be out of the game.
So Geo will pick up one onto Gohan, and Cameraman managed to get away because Brian showed a bit of hesitation. The Lion, who was playing by that Teller's desk in the main lobby, was not able to get there in time, but he will secure a kill onto Cameraman, and that is the Bandit gone as Cameraman had rotated. So Brian waiting to see if somebody's going to bother to peek from open area. As you can see from our perspective, we know that there's somebody in there, but the reality is, when will they decide to push? 30 seconds left. You're in a stage right now where Rogue is going to need to execute. You said it was going to be an A take. Eclipse is working his way down the main stairs. They have that open wall. Brian trying to get into the site as he hits the barbed wire, but 2 from FaZe as they are there, prepared for the transition. Geo walks right in. He'll take out 1 kill, waiting to see if somebody's going to push from open area. You can hear the telltale shots of the MP5. Geo works his way in. He sees the dock. No revive available, but you will have to frag out. Astro just needs to survive, and Geo will shoot a lifeline. No chance to get that diffuser and go for a plant. Astro hides, plays it perfectly on the stairs. Great teamwork from FaZe to take a situation that went bad real fast and still manage to stick the landing, and they'll put their second defensive round into the win column.
A big misstep for Easily on the Thermite. Being exposed by the Bandit just shows that you really need to do your droning on bank. It's such a big map where there's so many different little tiny corners that you need to worry about. So certainly Rogue, they need to focus more on their droning. Sure, they had a great setup where they could go for that A take. That probably could have worked because it was farther away than what the roamers in open area could really adapt to. And whenever they had the flank coverage with the Lion, that would have been great. You seen there was 2 guys over towards that open area side, so having in that flank coverage along with the push in really does make FaZe have to spread out their utility, try and go for retakes above. But whenever they have Eclipse upstairs as well, who's covering the flanks, everything could have worked for Rogue, but because they just had that one mistake, not droning out the Bandit, it just ruined the entire attack.
Unfortunately for them, not just the utility gone from the Thermite, but also a very competent fragger and player. Losing Easily, obviously, is a unfortunate, as I believe we said, play for them to find themselves in. And FaZe managed to win a round despite the fact that Geo, with his best efforts, came so close to closing that gap. We do see an open area defense now for FaZe, so they will use their 3rd site here on rotation, and they will avoid that CEO office, as was mentioned. They don't really typically go there. As a region, they don't really see a lot of play. Upstairs, they'll usually go for the 1st floor or the basement. CCTV will unlock at the conclusion of this round, where we will probably see FaZe go back to once again.
So FaZe are going to be having this heavy room presence. I'm liking these couple of Valkyrie cameras being chucked up by Mav. It gives them that early intel. It shows them exactly where Rogue are going to try and attempt to push from. It tells them exactly what side of the roof primarily they want to try and come from. So having that extra intel does allow the roamers to adapt, to see where they need to rotate to hold up their anchor positions in and about the other rooms that may be scattered beside that open area. So I do like the pickup. Rogue are going to more or less try and do the same thing, where they like to take from the open area, get all the drones in, which they certainly are doing a lot more, as it is going to be 1 guy on the side of FaZe who will be spotted inside of the open area. So Eclipse does have to be careful of Moringa lurking, who could peek out at any single stage. We do see a little bit of an upstairs hold as well coming out from FaZe, so this is going to allow Rogue to really think about where they want to try and push from. Eclipse is going to get the kill onto Cameraman. as that is going to be the early advantage for Rogue, is exactly what they need. They still have their sledge alive as well, so he can start coming in, start ripping up the floor, and potentially get some quick frags onto the member of FaZe who may be still inside off the bomb site.
And Rogue doesn't know this, but the 4 remaining members of FaZe are all on the main floor. Astro and Mav situated by the A-bomb, Gohan by the B-bomb, and Moringa playing in the elevator. So they have no real, I suppose, obstacle to greet them up top, unless Mav decides to go for a possible C4 kill, or you get Astro going through the floor. Slash will grab the intel as he hacks the cams, one of Dokabee's abilities, in conjunction with her phone call, snaps her fingers, and now has all the information. Because there is a Valkyrie and 2 Evil Eyes, this is particularly strong, and Cameraman's early death will mean that for the next 75 seconds or so, Rogue will have all that information at their fingertips. Astro falls as he was playing inside of the site, but Mav will be able to trade off easily, who had just gotten the kill, and that's Diffuser down as well. Through the open hatch, a good shot from Mav in order to force Rogue to now have to rotate to pick up the Diffuser, which Eclipse will do.
Yeah, good plays from Rogue getting ready for this final take. We did see the quick refrag, so that does give FaZe a little bit of a fighting chance, but not a whole lot to work with still. Moringa is going to be lurking inside of the elevators. Eclipse just watching the flanks, just being careful that somebody may want to rotate up the main stairs. I'm liking this angle from Moringa. It really does make Rogue think about where they're going to try and push into, but the plant will come in momentarily as gas canisters will get thrown out with the smoke. And it will be the quick plant going down. E1D as well does get put in, so the members of FaZe have to play musical statues, as that will be the phone call. It forces Maestro off of his cameras as well, as Mav and Gohan are going to be stuck inside of the staff room area. Geo gets the kill onto Mav. Moringa is going to come out of his hiding hole. And let's see if Rogue can hold this, or will FaZe be able to go for the retake. Gohan had to turn his phone off momentarily, as Moringa is going to be lurking upstairs, and this is what we were talking about with Rogue. They need to hold these angles. I'm surprised that Eclipse still isn't up there, as he will get punished for that, as it does allow Slash to get killed by Moringa. Gohan's going to push in, going to attempt to go forward to defuse, but will get shut down by Brian, and Geo will get the final kill onto Moringa, and Rogue do pull around back.
The coordination to get that Dokkaebi call to get Meister off of his cam is the kind of thing that you need the foresight to not use both of those phone calls recklessly. And the fact that Rogue was able to keep that call in their pocket, quite literally, and get the call off, that was huge. And you could see that the moment that they went on the Maestro cam to start shocking away at the planter and give that intel, possibly to Moringa or possibly to Mav, well, they were able to take that right away from them by, in the final 25 to 30 seconds, having that logic bomb available. Pulls Maestro off his cams, as you said. One of the beauties of Echo is that he doesn't get the phone call from Dokkaebi, so he can't get knocked off of his yokai drones. But Maestro, you're susceptible to being hacked, and you're also susceptible to being knocked off of the Evil Eye, Valkyrie cameras, or default cameras, if you happen to be on any of those.
But then again, that may be why we're seeing Rogue ban out that Echo, is because of that very reason. Of course, like you did point out, Echo does not get affected by Dokkaebi. He did block her number after some past leave dives. Then we're diving into the Rainbow Six. What was the word for that?
It's lore.
Yeah, lore. A lore for Rainbow Six Siege. Who'd have funked it? Huh? Who'd have funked it?
I just don't care about lore. I don't care. No, Echo and Dokkaebi dated at one point. Oh, cool, yeah, great. Or Ying and Echo, or whoever dated. Great. Give me operators. Give me balanced operators. I don't really care about their backstory. I'm a pretty simple man. Just give me balanced operators. I don't really care about anything else.
As long as you have your Monster and Red Bull, you're happy.
I mean, at the same time, sounds like too much. Sounds like it's excessive. You could drink both of them.
Well,
mix them together.
You can't be as excessive as Canadians, though. Who literally showers in Monster. Loves that green goodness.
Oh god, imagine how sticky that would be. Like you shower in like a sugary drink. Ugh!
We should get a GoFundMe for that.
Awful. After the tactical pause, we'll see if Rogue are able to possibly use that to their advantage to close this out. Interesting that they will take the tactical pause when all tied up. I mean, let's say they do lose this round, you take a tactical pause on match point. It might not work. This is as good a time as ever to possibly do it.
So Rogue are going to be bringing a bit of a different setup. They have more universal tools compared to the last time they attacked the bottom floor. They have the Dokkaebi this time along with the Lion, so both of the universal ops are going to be chosen. They work great together. That's typically why we do see, that's why we see one of them being banned out for the most part, but then we usually do see the other one slip away. Typically it's Lion being banned out more than Dokkaebi, but in these cases Rogue is going to be able to take both of them. So this more or less screams to me that they're going to go for the same server push with the Thermite. They have the Thatcher this time to get rid of EMPs, but FaZe, they're going to be bringing this Alibi for the first time. She is going to come out to play with her decoys, with her projections, and that's going to make Rogue think twice before they start popping heads inside of the open area. Probably one of the best areas that Alibi can be used. Whenever Alibi did release, I thought, yeah, open area is going to be really good to use these because there's a lot of tables, and typically players do like to hide about, and you can use that House of Mirrors kind of strategy that that was talked about whenever she was revealed, the way you can use the different projectors to your advantage.
Yeah. And right now, FaZe investing very heavily in that open area. We can see that Rogue trying to work their way in through that little supply closet down by the alley. Eclipse will join the rest of his team. He's there with both Brian and Easily. Going to see if they're going to be able to get any of that information. We haven't really seen a lot of focus on the garage, which is where Slash happens to be right now. It typically isn't an area where you see teams push in as of late because of the Maestro cams, because of possibly Yokai drones, or possibly because of Valkyrie cameras. That's a lot of information, and of course the garage is such a long piece of real estate that by the time you get to the end of it, they've usually found you out. So we'll see what they're able to make here now as Slash can work his way in, but he's basically solo entrying at the moment as Lion, and he hasn't even really entered yet. He's just playing by the back of the cop car to see if anybody's going to bother to push out.
So half the round already gone for Rogue. They're going to have to start making their way in towards the server. They haven't even dealt with the roamer still, as Mav and Cameraman are still going to be located upstairs. Brian is going to be on his drones looking to see where some potential players may be on the flank, as Easily has got himself inside of the server room along with his teammates as well. Exo Thermite charge will be placed and detonated. One E1D will go out as well just to slow the pace of the round so far. Let's Rogue recalibrate where they want to go from. And as you do see as well, the hatch is going to be open from the open area that FaZe did open themselves. This is going to be detrimental for Rogue, as Mav playing that hatch does get the kill. Eclipse is going to take up that same position in his dead teammate's body, waiting for the peek from a member of FaZe as that phone call did come out. Eclipse does see the angle, but Mav is going to get the better of that as Eclipse will get dropped. 30 seconds ago, Cameraman gets himself a kill onto Brian, who tried to challenge them roamers, as Geometrics will then have to come upstairs as well. So this is crumbling at the seams for Rogue. A quick punch hole and does get tagged as well. He is dashing around, trying to see if he can get the kill. Legion Mine as well goes off, and also the phone call's gonna come out. What is this? What are you doing, Geo, as Astro gets the kill? Slash, last man in Garage, and this is almost definitely going to be a FaZe great kill from Slash there on the Moringa, the quick flick, but not enough time. A great play from FaZe using that hatch to the best of their advantage. So an excellent round coming out from FaZe. Rogue, I had no idea what Rogue were attempting there, where they tried to really force the server push, but if you do not have the control of the hatches, or you don't have control of any of that mid floor, then it is simple for FaZe Clan to simply play the hatches or go for the retake that we've talked about so much, that we know a map like Bank does provide a lot of main stairs, flank coverage as well, so there's a lot to work with on them particular strategies. So I don't know the thinking that Rogue tried to place in. So we will be heading into a teller's office and archives as well. Jaeger, Maestro, Bandit, Doc, Smoke is going to be the lineup for FaZe to hopefully close out this round for themselves to move on into Map 2. But certainly it is going to be a long haul inside of this round, and knowing Rogue, they're probably going to take this to overtime as well.
I would imagine it would be that close, yeah, between the two of them. This is the close contest that we expected, though, to be fair. So, FaZe, all they have to do is win one round to get them to the next map. By no means an easy job, especially against Rogue,
But you're looking at the confidence that FaZe has started to build up. They've got their fraggers playing really well. Rogue, they have had a lot more stupid mistakes in my eyes compared to the members of FaZe, which is certainly something that me and Kix touched upon inside the Norengo, plus Team Vitality, where just tiny mistakes really does cost a lot of teams these potential victory rounds. So certainly FaZe, they have to think about what they're doing to make sure they close it out and really punish Rogue for these little mistakes that they are making.
And what's been a very defender-sided contest, you know, so far. We headed out through like the first stretch with Rogue taking 3 of the 5, and we thought to ourselves like, oh yeah, you know, this is Rogue doing really, really well. But right now at the moment, FaZe has now taken 3 of the 4 and are in a position where, as long as they can hold on a site that they've already won, this is theirs in the bag before we go to Clubhouse.
So it is going to be FaZe having this more maneuverable roam game where they're creating these connectors to spread out in between the open areas. You did see the Bailiff being used to great use with the Maestro. So they're having then this same kind of extended bomb site almost, where it is going to be another angle they have to worry about, but then also equally another angle Rogue have to worry about, as they will be entering in towards the main lobby. This seems to be the exact same setup that they attempted to go for last time. Easily was the big factor who did not survive that initial push in, where he didn't even get to use his thermite charges because of the lone cameraman sitting in the corner, or in the corner, should I say. So certainly, FaZe, they know what Rogue are going to have planned, I'm sure, because you would have heard some shots rattle out in between the skylight area if they were going to try and go for that push. So certainly, I'm sure FaZe will be ready for this collapse onto the Rogue attack.
You're going to have one of these 2 C4s that are on site in both the Pulse as well as the Bandit's hand used to try to take out Eclipse. But Mav isn't really in a position to do much with it. There's an E1D that will go off. A phone call had also been used earlier. They're trying to track Gohan, but Eclipse just narrowly being evaded by Gohan. Here we go. Mav will throw the C4 up, and that's a kill onto Geo. A great play by the Pulse, who was playing on the server stairs to work his way back towards the site. Give us just about a minute left here, but it's Eclipse and Slash upstairs who will be a bit disconnected from the push. As long as they can create a lot of discomfort for FaZe, then they can do their job from above, and maybe Slash could even be able to toss one of those smokes down through the open holes that the Sledgehammer's been able to create, providing the ADSs have been taken care of.
Potentially, I could have liked to see a rotate coming out from Mav. He knows he just killed their flank coverage from Rogue, so certainly it could have been a good opportunity that the Pulse could have went for, go for the flanks. But nonetheless, that's going to be the last E1D being used. Brian does see a figure, but doesn't manage to land the head through the poles off the stairs. Slash is going to take up position as well upstairs, along with Eclipse, who is still slashing the floor. 30 seconds to go. This is going to be down to the wire.
And here we have it, as the 1 exothermic charge will be used and the open hole will be greeted by a Toxic Babe. The Sledge playing above of Eclipse, being taken out by Cameraman, who has now worked his way upstairs. So Cameraman has come out on a flank out of nowhere to take all this away from Rogue. Slash will join his fellow cohorts, but Gohan with 2 big kills will leave Slash last man standing. 4v1, but Cameraman from above, proving to be an excellent rotate. Map number 1 will go in favor of FaZe by a score of 6-4. Crazy to think that we were a little, you know, bullish on FaZe's odds to start things off, and hey, they were able to stick through it, and they took 4 of the final 5 rounds.
Yeah, very slow start from FaZe, but whenever they get that momentum behind them, you can see that they certainly do just steamroll through and do get that victory. Slash on 10 kills, the best for his team. Mav on 10 kills as well, a very good showing from him.